Stalkers. Thanks for tuning in episode 2 of the Crime Stalker podcast. I'm Steph.
And I'm Sin.
So yesterday we were talking about what again?
We left off where Spider had an interview with the private investigator and pretty much told him that he knew where the boys were and told the investigator to stop looking for them because the boys were dead.
Right, making himself like a prime suspect.
Right, he's kind of incriminated himself in a way.
Right, I'm down to find out like how he knows all this.
All right, so let's get into it.
All right, let's do it.
So in December, remember Snake was out driving until like December something, in the couple weeks into December. Bob Brown and Mike, the hired help that he had, were staking out like his work. And they staked it out for like 36 hours until they finally seen a truck roll in and seen a cat that looked like Snake walk out and hop on a Harley. So they were like, that's fucking him.
Let's get him.
That's fucking him. So they started like tailing him. They started following him. And while they're following him, they called the police and they were like, hey, we got this motherfucker. You guys need to come and arrest this dude. So, like, they were tailing him, trying to, like, not lose him until the cops came, like, right up behind them and then swooped around, fucking pulled him over. And Snake, once he got pulled over, he was, like, all confused. He's like, what the fuck? What's all the commotion about? And they hit him with the 8 charges of forgery. So
Okay.
They didn't charge him with, like, the murder or nothing like that.
Well, they didn't have any proof yet.
Right. So they were like, that's what you're going in for.
Gotta hold him somehow.
And like I was saying earlier about the handwriting, the reports from the document examiner at the Michigan State Police Crime Laboratory said that the counter signatures could not be identified with the known writings of James. They appeared to be attempts to simulate the handwriting.
Right.
And also they had the fingerprints from John Cox. So the cops are like, we got both these fuckers that we're real interested in, Spider and Snake. Let's bring them in at the same time and interview them. It was like some straight SVU shit.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're on both ends of the halls, and they walk past each other.
Then they play that your boy talks,
Yeah.
or he's talking now.
You see he's over there?
He's over there making a good deal.
Singing like a canary.
Telling us it's all your idea.
Yep, so they did that. They did the whole,
Back up.
whoever talks first gets the deal.
Better deal, yep.
Yep. So they started interviewing John Snake Cox Jr. And in his initial statement, he admitted that he met James and Daryl at the McDonald's in Daytona, the McDonald's in Daytona Beach, and the two were trying to buy a kilo of weed for $550, but they were short on money. Remember, he had like 400.
Right.
Daryl had 100 and something, but so they were short on money, and the dealer that they were trying to get it from, his name was Mike. And he wouldn't take traveler's checks. So, Snake, being such a nice fucking dude, was like, I'll give you the money. I'll even front you the extra 150, so you can get your kilo of weed. I'll hold on to your car as collateral until you can pay me back. And then he went and he dropped off the boys at the Thunderbird Motel in Daytona Beach. And he never saw them again.
So he just, like, decided to keep his car?
He never got his $150 back. So he said, the car's mine now.
This guy's a character.
Yeah, so that was his story initially. But when Snake's attorney asked him, like, hey, you willing to take a lie detector test, dog? Like,
right.
You'll probably get a lot of shit off
it's
you.
Like, nah.
He got fucking mad about it. Mad refused. So the investigators, they were slick, like I said. They brought him in at the same time. They walked him down just so they could see each other. And Spider was in the next room. So he's over there, Spider's next door spilling the truth beans, man. So he offered him one more chance, like, tell us what happened, before he gets the deal. So he was like, all right, I'll tell you what happened to the boys, and I'll tell you where you can find them. So it's like, oh, shit,
They're about to find some bodies.
About to find some motherfucking bodies. Alright, so with his public defender with him, he told the investigators that Spider met the boys and brought them to the McDonald's to meet Snake, who he was already at McDonald's. And he said that Spider had planned on robbing the boys and wanted Snake to help. And Snake was like, alright, like I said, he's a cocksucker, so he was like, I'm totally with it. He got in the car with Spider and the boys, and they rolled around and smoked several marijuana joints. So at some point, Snake said Spider pulled out a gun and told the boys, it's a robbery. After robbing the two, they were put in the back seat with their hands bound with their belts. Shortly after that, Snake and them both thought someone might see them in the back seat and be like, you know, what the fuck? Why you got two kids tied up in your fucking back seat? So they put them in the back of the trunk. And then they returned to the boys' room at the Thunderbird Motel. And they took all the clothes, all their suitcases, all their shit from the hotel room and went and dumped it in a dumpster in Daytona somewhere. And then they rode around and smoked a lot more. And this is blazing the whole time, these fucks. So 10 to 12 hours after meeting the boys, they were finally in a wooded area near the county civil defense building off of Highway 92. That's out by the jailhouse.
Right.
So he said he got out of the car and they opened the trunk and the boys were dead.
Oh my God.
Right. So he pulled the bodies out, Snake did, and then he just laid them on the ground. And he was like, I'll bring you to where they are. And that's what they said that they were going to do. And that's the funny thing is how close it was to the Volusia County Jail.
Right.
It's off of that road. And that jail was built the year before. It was built in November 1977.
Huh.
So it was new,
right.
But I don't know, maybe cops don't really drive around on the back alleys by the jail. They're usually inside, I guess.
I don't know.
Kind of weird. I don't really know what's back there.
Did they bury him or were they just laying there?
Nah, they were just on the ground. And they weren't just on the side of the road.
Right. They were deep in there?
They were a ways in there.
Why would anyone go out there unless they got a tip about it or something?
Right.
Especially, I wouldn't be walking around the fucking jail and shit.
Right. Well, and this is even deeper. It was off of a fire lane.
Oh.
So.
Oh, okay. I think they have that right by the jail. There's a trail, and then there's a gate where there was one fire truck in there, but it wasn't a station. Maybe it was a station at some point, but there's no longer a station there. It's just a fenced-in area, and then not a regular fire truck, but one of the trucks. It looks like a Ford or a Chevy truck, but it's a fire truck. It has that, and then some rescue stuff for the wilderness because of across from Tiger Bay.
Okay.
Right there. Yeah, because you could actually take it and loop it around somewhere, and it comes out not in front of the jail, but in the woods past the jail, past the bail bondsman and all that, right there on the left side of the road, on the same side as the jail.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't go down there. I was trying to Google Maps it, but
yeah, I think so. There was a fire or something out there.
I wouldn't doubt it. I looked and you could see it.
A wilderness fire station or something to make sure the woods ain't on fire or stuff like that.
Well, they got that conservation or something right down the road. Yeah. So Snake told him that he was going to bring him there, and he did. They went over there. They got a court order for him to go with them, and they went on December 12th. He led him to a site off of the Indian Lake Road and pointed out the skeletal remains of two cats. And the next day, a forensic team from Tallahassee actually was flown down, and it was led by this cat, Jack Duncan, and Dr. Dan Morse. And they were the ones that were going to take over the crime scene investigation. And then they were able to identify the two remains as the boys, James and Daryl, by their dental records. Yeah. So they got them. They found them. Now it was just a matter of was Snake telling the truth.
Right. Did they actually die in the trunk?
Right.
Or did they die prior to the trunk?
Right. So,
Or after?
on the 21st of December, and also the 22nd, they talked to Earl Lee Smith. He was talking with investigators. And right from the beginning of the statement, like, there's inconsistencies with Snake's story. In Spider's story, he met the boys on the beach where the boys were smoking a joint. So he, like, walked up to them and they were blazing up. And they had an ounce on them. So already it's like, they had an ounce.
Right, they weren't looking for that kilo in that story.
Right. So, in Snake's, that's why they wanted to meet up with Snake.
Right.
So, and also I gotta add, if we're talking a kilo, like a kilogram, that's like 2 fucking pounds. 2 pounds of weed. Like, these motherfuckers drove all the way.
For 2 pounds?
Right.
Nah.
To come be drug lords.
Nah, they were wanting to go to Disney.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't come down here to be gangsters.
Nah.
They wanted to fucking chill with Goofy.
Right.
So, yeah. So that was already like a what the fuck. So Spider was like, you guys want to come to a keg party? You know, I'm pretty sure Spider did want to rob them.
Right.
He probably did want to rob them of their weed. So he was like, I know somebody that knows where there's keggers and stuff. His name is Snake. So they were like, oh, yeah, sure. And then they went all back to the boys' room, the Thunderbird Motel, which, like I said, it was 103 or 109, depending on what you're reading. So that one of the boys could change. And that's when they went to the McDonald's near the boardwalk to meet up with Snake. So Spider told Snake that they wanted to rip the boys off for their weed. So they picked up Snake and they hit a gas station to fill up the gas tank. And the boys pulled out their money to, like, pay for the gas. And Snake was like, oh, shit.
Don't be doing that.
Nah, they weren't like me. They weren't saying, put your stack away.
Nah, that's what I'm saying. They were
They were
looking
like,
I'm saying you can't be doing that.
Oh, I'm going to take that. That's mine's now. So, yeah, that's what the plan was. Now they were going to rob him of the weed and they were going to rob him of the money. So they wanted to take everything. And at the time, Snake only had like a 25 millimeter automatic on him. So he came up with some excuse to go buy his trailer so that he can go pick up his 38. Which he was seen with this 38 a lot. It had like a bent trigger guard on it.
What, you use that a lot?
Well, maybe. Probably. Like I said, he was a piece of shit.
Robbing people.
He's a robbing motherfucker. Pagan motherfucker.
I wonder why that other gun couldn't work.
The 25?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he just didn't
his
like
lucky
that one.
gun.
Maybe. So, he went and picked up the 38, but he did give the 25 to Spider.
Oh, he wanted 2 guns.
Right, but he wanted his gun.
Yeah.
You know what I
Some
mean?
greedy motherfucker.
He said, you can take this piece of shit.
Yeah, there you go. You can have this one. Good luck trying to shoot it.
I want my good luck gun. So, they were driving around, smoking more reefer. And then Snake was just like, someone pulled out a gun.
The
Like
only
you,
2 that had a gun?
Yeah, there's only 2 of you, and you both had guns.
Right.
Someone pulled out a gun and demanded the boys pull off the road. So they pulled off the road, and they drove for a short distance before they had him pull over and park. They all got out of the car, robbed the boys. And that's when Snake allegedly told Spider, yo, we gotta kill him. So they were like, all right, we're gonna fucking murk you guys. Let's fucking bring you into the woods now.
Come on, follow me. I'm just going to shoot you real quick and
Pretty
then be
much.
on my day.
It's pretty much. So they were starting to walk through, and it was kind of mucky back there. So one of the boys' shoes got stuck. It got stuck in the mud because
You're
it was
going to
like...
need that anyway after a minute.
Well, so at that point, Snake got pissed. You know, God damn, your shoe getting stuck in the mud. How much of an inconvenience for me. So he was like, take your fucking shoes off, both of you. Leave them. And in the book, it's allegedly said that he says that. Where we're going, you don't need shoes.
Well, yeah.
So, like, fucking creeper.
Right.
You know? It's like, fuck, dude. Like,
I would have ran and take my chances
Right.
of them trying to shoot me. Cause
right. Which would have been the smart idea.
Right.
But, I mean, at that point, who knows what you're going to do in
Right.
that situation. So they got to a point, and Snake had the boys lay face down on the ground. And then he told Spider, we're going to have to kill one each. Like, you kill one, I'll kill the other. So he, like, pointed the gun at one of them, and he cocked it. And Spider said that at that point he tried to walk away, saying like, I can't do it. Like he's not a killer. He's just a fucking robbing burglar ass motherfucker.
I'm a dickhead, but I'm not that much of a dickhead.
Right. So Snake got pissed off. He uncocked his gun and like put it away, and he grabbed like a big ass like stick, and he started to beat one of the boys, like trying to knock him unconscious.
Man, we should have just shot him. Beat him to death.
Right. So that didn't work. Like he didn't knock him out. So he gave it to Spider for him to knock him out, and he hit him a couple more times and still nothing. Didn't knock him out. He was just fucking this kid up at this point.
Yeah.
So even more pissed off, he fucking pistol whips him. And fails to knock him out again. Like, fucking piece of shit. So...
It'd have been quicker to just shoot him.
Right. So now they're both still alive. So... And the pathologist or the county coroner, I'm not sure who was it that did the autopsy, but they did say that there was, like, evidence of one of them being, like, beat.
Well, yeah.
So, like, that part of Spider's story is adding up now. Nothing about this was mentioned in Snake's story.
Well, yeah.
So,
he's trying to pin it all on Spider.
Exactly, because once Spider even looked in Snake's gun, because Snake gave him his gun and was like, I'm going to get the car. Stay here and watch them. There was no fucking bullets in his gun.
Damn.
But there was bullets in Spider's.
His homeboy up.
Straight up.
He's like, I ain't going down for this.
Yep.
Shit.
So that's how much of a piece of shit. Like, even to his friend.
That's why he didn't shoot him. He couldn't, or else homeboy would have found out he didn't have no bullets.
Yep. He would have been caught.
That's why he wanted to get his gun. He wanted homeboy to be the one to shoot him.
Yep. And then for him, he would probably even use that as leverage over Spider.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I think about Spider, at the time, Spider wasn't that much older than the boys themselves. But Snake was like in his 30s.
Right, it was like Mouse and Men, or Mice and Men.
Right. Like, and I don't really get into too much about Earl Smith's like childhood, but he did have a fucked up life.
Right.
I don't know about Snakes, but I mean, there's no excuse for what the fuck they did.
Nah, they're both dirty, but Snake was like vicious.
I could see him being the more like manipulative one.
He wasn't loyal to no one.
No, not at all. So Snake pulled up with the car, and he had the two boys get in the back seat again with their hands bound, and with their own belts. And then, you know, they thought the same thing, like, all right, well, we can't have them in the back seat. We're going to have to put them in the fucking trunk. So they put them in the trunk, and then they went and took all their belongings, all that. All that was the same in Spider and Snake's story. They went back to the motel, took all the evidence of the boys, and threw it in some dumpster. And on the way back, they stopped at Snake's trailer in the Miller Fisher Trailer Park, smoking more weed, which was fucked up. Because now, if you think about it, they're inside their house just chilling, probably smoking the boys' weed.
Right.
You know
obviously.
what I mean? And they're locked up, tied with their own shit in their own car.
Right. Smoke with them a little bit.
Fuck, yeah, right? Or let them go. Like, how stoned do you have to be to, like, get your conscience back? You know, you just, like, you just still a piece of shit no matter how fucking high you are? Or it must, well, I mean, it was 78.
They was always fucked up.
With some old...
It was the 70s?
Crusty weed.
They was on some other shit, probably.
Not the good fluffy stuff. So Snake turned to Spider, and he was like, I know how to do this. I know how to get this done. So he grabbed like a length of garden hose, a sponge, and some duct tape. And then they went and they hopped back in the car, and they headed back down US 92 to an area off of Indian Lake Road. So around the same area that Snake said he knew about. And they drove down a dirt road and then backed up into a fire lane. Which I got like the directions to where the actual crime scene was, but it's kind of hard to decipher. Like, especially if the streets aren't the same.
Right.
Because, I mean, I wrote it down. It's not in here, nothing like that, because I was going to go there. But I don't know if I'll be able to figure it out. So, at this point, they unlocked the trunk, and they removed the belts, like, from the boys' hands. And then they got James to, like, sign some of the traveler's checks. And that's another part of, like, the story that I was like, well, maybe he only signed a couple, and they forged.
Or he was scared, and he's shaking, so his signature wasn't going to add up.
Right, exactly. that he would be too scared for it
Yeah.
to look like authentic. So they were like, all right, cool, thanks, we're gonna put you back in the trunk, and in 30 minutes someone's gonna come by to let you out. So the boys probably, at this point, I don't know if I would believe a motherfucker.
I wouldn't, no.
Like, it's been a whole 12
I'd be like,
hours.
somebody's coming out here to kill me.
Right. Exactly. Or we're not leaving this fucking trunk. So Snake put a piece of the garden hose, like, into the back of the trunk.
Filled it up with water?
No.
Oh.
So he put the hose in the trunk, and then the other piece into the exhaust.
Oh.
And then he stuffed, like, the extra space around the exhaust with the sponge.
He killed him with gas.
So, like, the boy, and he started putting duct tape, like, around the opening of the trunk.
so there was no sealants.
Right. And then they even put books on top of the speakers.
To hold it down?
Excuse me. No. Well, yeah, to, like, hold it down and to keep from air, like, leaking out.
No ventilation whatsoever.
So, like, the boys were catching on.
Mm-hmm.
One of them, at least. Because they started pushing the fucking hose out.
Mm-hmm.
Which, fuck yeah. So,
yeah.
Snake, he's, like, trying to keep putting it back in, keeping it in. He goes into the dash, he grabs a knife, and then he starts stabbing through the opening of the trunk. And they stop, obviously.
Well, yeah, I ain't gonna fuck with a knife.
So he shoves it back in there, and again, I don't know who did the autopsy, but there was, like, findings of someone being stabbed.
Oh,
too.
He got someone.
So, yeah, it didn't really say it, but, I mean, from that, you can kind of think, maybe.
Right.
And then Snake had Spider go up the street and watch for cars. So they were, like, on each side, anybody coming? For 2 hours. They left them motherfuckers in there.
Oh, yeah.
2 motherfucking hours. That is fucked up. So at that point, they opened up the trunk. The boys were dead. They pulled the boys out, and they placed them on the ground and, like, left them in some, like, covered bush. Like, they just covered them up. And then they just dipped. And they threw, like, the garden hose and the sponge and the duct tape. They just, like, threw it, like, away. Not in a trash can or nothing like that. They just threw it down.
Yeah, and just throw all my DNA everywhere.
Right, all the evidence. So they were driving. They had the boys' wallets. They took out the IDs, like especially James's, because they needed it to cash the traveler's checks. So they tossed out the wallets of the windows while they were, like, driving too. So, according to the Volusia County Sheriff's Office, the paper that we got from them, a little under a week after Spider told them, like, what happened, he confessed, they had warrants drawn up for John and Earl. And they were both with 2 accounts of first-degree murder, robbery, and possession of a firearm and the commission of a felony.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Cox was additionally charged with auto theft. Rightfully so.
Right.
So.
And he kept that shit.
Right. And gave it to his wife as a birthday gift.
Here's a dead man's car. Have fun with it, babe.
Right. Love you.
I know you're fucking the gardener.
Right. So, they searched, like, the area, investigators did, and they actually found, like, a balled up roll of silver duct tape. They found the hose. They found the sponge. They found everything. And what's kind of weird when you're doing this, you'll see Earl has, like, 2 different names besides Spider, because when they got inked fingerprints back from the Florida Department, or the Florida Drug and Law Enforcement, they found out that his name was actually Theodore Bassett. Yeah. So, like, I forget where they got this from. I think Michigan sent it down or something like that, but they found out that his name was actually that, Theodore Bassett. So when you look this case up...
It's like, why the fuck did you use that name?
Right, he's charged under that, Theodore.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't want to bring it up until now, because it might have got confusing with enough names that we got going on anyways. Mm-hmm. So January 14th came, and that was when the trial for Earl Spider Smith went down. And it went down for like 4 days. So the verdict came back on the 18th from the jury, and it was guilty of first-degree murder on 2 accounts. Boom, of course. And then it took another 75 minutes for the jury to come back and say that he was going to be sentenced to death by electrocution.
Oh, yeah.
Because we had the death penalty.
Yeah.
We had the death penalty with him. And I think, because you don't see a lot about Snakes, because he didn't have a trial. he actually pled no contest.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if he got a deal for that. Like maybe they're like, we'll take the death penalty off the table if you just plead guilty or no contest.
Or was there something else that we don't know about?
Maybe. Like what?
I don't know. Like,
We don't
did
know.
Spider have more of a role than Snake did?
Well, I mean, it doesn't say that there's evidence pointing to Spider more so than Snake.
Right.
Like I said, it kind of seems like Spider's version of the story may have been a little more truthful.
Right.
But again, these are low life fucking pieces of shit that who can fucking trust them. So eventually Theodore Bassett, aka Earl E. Smith, aka Spider, would try to fight his death penalty. Like he wanted that off of there.
He's like, this motherfucker.
So he did go back to court in one of his appeals in 1988, and he got sympathy from the judge because, like I said, he had a fucked up life. He was his mom was raped, and he was the child from that.
Oh, yeah.
So when he was born, his mom not once hugged him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like when she'd seen him, she'd fucking seen...
This some SVU shit.
Right. So, and the step-parent that he had growing up, too, like, was super abusive and shit like that. So, like, that whole case kind of won him just life.
Right.
You know? So he got that taken off and overturned. And like I said, John Carter Cox Jr., he was sentenced to life in prison. Everything I could find on them both as of right now is they are both alive and incarcerated in the same prison, which is the Florida Department of Corrections in Tallahassee, Florida. So that's pretty interesting. Like,
Right. How old are they now?
Well, Snake was like 30 something at the time.
Oh, so they're old.
78 to... I mean, they got to be in their 70s.
Right.
You know, something like that. But, yeah, that was it. That's pretty much the story. These fuckers are still...
That's fucking crazy. They just left their ass. Like, didn't even try to bury them or cover up their own, like... You would think, like, if you're about to kill somebody, you'd have a better, like... I don't know, strategy, like instead of throwing things out the window and stuff.
Driving all around town, smoking weed, just trying to think.
That's what I'm saying. They had to get high enough to get that plan, and that's the plan they came up with.
Who knows how long they could have went had Spider not said anything. You know what I mean? It's one thing for a biker to say, "Oh, I think so and so was at their house," but without them actually getting the confessions and shit like that, I don't know.
Right.
I mean, no one probably would have found those remains.
No, because, like, if you think about it, who's going to go out there and why?
Right.
Like, you're not going to hunt back there. They probably have a no hunting, like, thing out there. Right. I don't know, like, how it was back in the day, but I know today it would have been found.
Oh, fuck
they would have been found in, like, a day. Because there's cops scrolling everywhere nowadays. They got those, wilderness police out there traveling the freaking Tiger Bay and around out there out there and stuff.
Right.
So of course, like, they would have been found. Like, back in the day, I'm sure murder was easy. I mean, to do and to hide for a little bit.
Right.
Like, especially if you had to go to fucking war to find out, like, information on people, because nobody remembered anybody back then. Like,
well, think about it. If the private investigator didn't get involved,
right,
nothing would have happened.
Yeah, and it definitely shows, like, how police kind of, like, improved a little bit, like, forgiving a shit. But, I guess it depends on the case, too, so.
Right. Well, there'll be more cases for us to...
That's right.
to find out.
That's right.
So we'll wrap up the second episode with a big thank you for anyone listening.
Appreciate ya.
A big shout out to the ladies at the Volusia County Sheriff's Office. Mama.
Yeah, she's a huge help.
Helping us get together. They got together like over 400 pages.
And she's so about it too.
Yeah. So hopefully we get some more solid information from case files and stuff like that, because that would be great, rather than like hearsay or something. But anything you would like to add, baby?
Nope. If y'all know about some crazy crimes out there, send us a message.
That's right. And we'll leave all our info inside the show notes. And also, if you dig this, go ahead and leave us like a dope rating. Maybe a review.
Or subscribe.
Subscribes for real.
Subscribes
it. Tell your moms, tell your friends, tell
He's
your
doing the line.
kids, teachers about us, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Crime Stalkers.
Peace.